Hey guys, so when we're talking about living life by invitation, I think a key thing that God allows us to experience so that we can fully let go of the orchestration and every day say, you know what, I'm just going to wait for his voice, listen for his voice, and then respond. That's how I'm going to live every day. I think to free us to be able to do that, one thing that God does is when we get ourselves in situations where we're looking for God to step in, we need a miracle, we need an answer, we need a clear next step, we need provision, whatever it might be. God, in our timeline, right, our timeline of life, our timeline of what we feel is the time by which we need an answer, we need something to happen. He'll allow the situation to go up to our internal deadline. Does that make sense? Up to our internal deadline. And it's at this point, here we were able to wait, right? Day one, you're able to wait. Day two, you're able to wait. Sure, I can give God a few days, months. I don't know what your situation is, but I can give God some time. But now my money is running out. Now the medical situation is looking really bad. Now I'm getting really unclear on what do you want me to do in my life? I need an answer for that person, whatever it might be. We get up to an internal clock deadline. And that's where the key decision is made, where we've got to go. Is it better? Here's the key question. Is it better for me to wait on God and do nothing, or are we now at a point where I've got to act because my internal timeline, this is the deadline? And very often, if you're wanting to live life by invitation instead of orchestration, I believe God to train us how to live by invitation instead of orchestrating, to let go. He will say, you know what, let me take you in your seasons of life up to these deadlines that you have internally, and then essentially invite you to wait beyond the deadline. Will you wait beyond the deadline? In 1 Samuel chapter 13, that's exactly what Saul does not do. Samuel has told Saul to wait for him for 7 days. Saul is leading the Israelite army on one side, the Philistines on the other side. The Philistines, there's a lot more of them than there are of the Israelites, and we see that it says, so much so that the Israelites are scared. The people in the army, the men in the army are leaving because they're so scared. And Saul is seeing that they're leaving. He is getting scared. What's going to happen? Where is Samuel? Where is Samuel? We're at a deadline. The men are leaving. We had no chance here, but we're really having no chance here. And so finally, Saul, on the 7th day, even though he should have continued to wait through his internal deadline, does something. He acts. He does the sacrifice that Samuel should be doing. And right, of course, when he does something, because he can't wait beyond his internal deadline, then Samuel shows up. Samuel says, how foolish if you had just waited another hour. Because I showed up today when you did the sacrifice. If you just waited another hour, if you could have just waited a little bit through your internal deadline, if you could have realized that it's better for you to do nothing and wait than to do something yourself without God's blessing, then I would have shown up, the kingdom would have been yours and established for a long time, and now God's going to have to take you off your throne and give it to somebody else because you don't have a heart that God can partner with. And a heart that God can partner with is a heart that lives life by invitation. And the story for today, the lesson for today is that as we live life by invitation, it's not easy. Because we have to let go of the internal deadlines. We have to let go of that thing in us and what society has trained us to believe, what our parents have told us and our peers have told us, our mentors have told us, that you've got a responsibility. You have to do something's better than nothing. Don't just sit around. Don't just wait. There is no power in waiting. There's no power in doing nothing. Absolutely incorrect. 1 Samuel chapter 13. When we do something because we can't wait beyond the deadline, then guess what? When we do something, we haven't waited long enough for God to do his thing. And our thing isn't powerful enough to resolve the situation. But God's thing is. But we miss out on God's thing because we can't wait through the deadline. The challenge is, as we live life by invitation, wait through the deadline. He loves you. He cares about you. He will never be late. He might feel late, but he won't be late. Give him the chance. Wait on him. Listen for his voice and only respond, only act, only do once you clearly hear from him.